All right, let's dive in. We're going to break down how you take a really complex idea, like an AI-powered attendance system, and actually build it from the ground up. And we're going to use this amazing project roadmap to show how it can be done, week by week. Let's get into it.
So, have you ever seen a piece of smart tech and just wondered, how on earth do you even start building something like that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to pull back the curtain on today. We're talking about going from just an idea to a fully working AI app in a lot less time than you might think.
And this is our guide. Think of it as the blueprint for everything we're about to talk about. It lays out the entire project in 3 really clear, manageable chunks. We're going to walk through this whole thing together, 1 week at a time.
So, first up is block 1. Week 1 is all about building the foundation. Before you can do anything fancy, you have to get the basics right. And for this system, the most critical fundamental skill is teaching it how to see and recognize faces. Seriously, if this part doesn't work, nothing else matters.
So how do we actually do that? Well, it breaks down into 3 pretty logical steps. First, you get your tools in order by installing the core software libraries. Simple enough. Then, step 2, you've got to give the system something to learn from. This means we build a dataset, which is really just a fancy term for a collection of pictures that the AI is going to study. And finally, step 3, we encode those faces. We're basically turning each person's unique facial features into a special code of numbers that a computer can understand. Once we have that code, we can train the system. See the flow? Set up your tools, give it data, and then teach it.
And just so we're all on the same page, when we say face recognition, what we're really talking about is the AI tech that lets a computer look at a picture and go, hey, I know that person. It's the magic key that makes this whole project possible.
Okay, so let's look at the toolkit for this first week. Python is the language we're writing everything in. Then you've got OpenCV, which you can think of as the system's eyes. It's what handles all the image processing. The face recognition library is the real workhorse here. It does the heavy lifting of actually figuring out who is who. And finally, there's NumPy, which is super important for efficiently dealing with all the numbers that our images get turned into.
All right, on to block 2. Now that our system can see, what's next? Well, in week 2, we build its brain. This is where we get into the core logic of the whole thing and actually automate the attendance process itself.
And the steps here are just so beautifully simple. In step 4, as soon as a face is recognized, boom, the system marks them present and slaps a precise timestamp on it. Step 5 is all about making sure that information doesn't disappear. We store it safely in a database. And finally, what good is data if you can't use it? Step 6 takes care of that by automatically creating nice, clean reports. It's the perfect little workflow. Recognize, record, and report.
So what tools do we need for that? Well, for the database, we use something called SQLite. It's super lightweight and doesn't need a big separate server, which is perfect. To organize all the data we're collecting, we use a powerhouse library called Pandas. Then, OpenXLI is the handy tool that lets us spit all that organized data out into an Excel file. And of course, the datetime library is absolutely essential for making sure every single check-in is time-stamped perfectly.
And that brings us to our final block, the control panel. For week 3, we're focused on the human side of things. I mean, the system can see and think on its own now, but we need a way to actually interact with it, right? We need to see what it's doing and have it talk back to us.
And this is where it gets really, really cool. Step 7 is building a web dashboard, so you can actually see live graphs and data on who's there and who's not. Then, step 8 adds a communication layer, sending out automatic emails or even WhatsApp alerts. And check this out, this shows some real-world thinking. Step 9 adds a location check. Why? To prevent someone from, having their friend check in for them. This isn't just a basic tool, it's a smart, secure system.
The final toolkit makes all this happen. To build that dashboard, we use Flask, which is a great tool that makes building web applications way simpler. For the WhatsApp messages, we use something called an API from a service like Twilio. An API is basically just a messenger that lets our app talk to another service. For emails, Python has a built-in library called SMTlib that can handle it. And for that clever anti-cheating feature, the GOP library is what helps us process and verify all the location data.
And just like that, you're done. By following these 3 blocks, in just 3 short weeks, you've gone from absolutely nothing to a complete, intelligent system. A system that can see faces, record attendance, and create useful reports, all while sending out alerts and even protecting itself from being tricked.
So you see, this blueprint, it's really more than just a set of instructions for one project. It's a whole way of thinking. It's about breaking a huge, intimidating problem down into these small, manageable, weekly chunks. Which kind of leaves us with one final question. Now that you have the blueprint, what kind of smart system could you build?